Okay, everybody, welcome back to class. So let's go over Bill Nye the Science Guy. It's like when they push those trolleys and then they have that TV. So like this is me speaking with high level people, high profile people. I'm trying to cater this to like basically like the upper echelon of society because apparently there's like resale value in these like tapes and stuff. So Bill Nye the Science Guy. So there's often like a battle of science versus religion, but who's to say there can't be both? So let's just say both.
This is Bill's interview for The Secret Life of Scientists and Engineers, Take One.
So I'm really trying to take this back to a point where it's like we can help you with your understanding, you know, but it also can help you with your childhood spontaneity. So I'm helping out Drake. So his childhood spontaneity is what we're working on. So when we push this trolley, it goes, Bill Nye the Science Guy, Bill. And so this person, Bill Nye, he teaches science. It is basically about chasm explosions. So how does atoms and particles and ions react to each other? So atoms, if we draw an atom, it's like a circle with many moving ions around it. So that's an atom. It's the smallest thing in the universe. So the table I'm working on is full of atoms, things that you do not see. These atoms, if I'm drawing these atoms, they are all these atoms and they are shaking in itself. So in this, these atoms are shaking. They have positive and negative attraction fields that hold it together. So millions of these atom particles are holding this table sturdy. So then what you should do is you should start shaking things. So grab your chair like Eminem. Grab a chair, put it over your head and just start shaking it. That will help you feel better. You see a pole in public, kick the pole. Like let's say it's a red light and you're frustrated about like the public's concern about public safety or something. So you can kick the pole. This will cause the atoms in the pole to shake. So I'm saying objects are held by the item's particles. The ions are electrons or protons. They can have a negative and positive charge. Negative protons also attract positively. A negative with a negative proton creates a positive charge. A positive and a negative creates a negative. A positive with a positive creates a positive. That's atoms and particles. Every item you see are held together by millions of particles that you cannot see.
Thank you, Spencer. Nicely done. I love science from when I can't remember. I remember watching bees. I remember watching bumblebees. How can this relatively large body be flown around by these seemingly tiny wings? I remember reading in Ripley's Believe It or Not, according to aerodynamic theory, bumblebees should be unable to fly. I remember thinking, look, the bees are fine. I mean, the problem's got to be with the theory. So it was just interesting to me that don't believe everything grown-ups tell you. When I was a kid, I thought bicycles were just the coolest thing. Bicycles and airplanes, come on. So then I found out that there's a whole business called mechanical engineering, which is pretty much...
So then let's start with like the universe, right? We're in the solar system, the galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy. The Earth revolves around the sun. This is because the sun is a large center of mass. Large centers of mass have gravity. So then if I were to jump and dunk it on Drake, I can't jump that high. So then when I'm jumping, I can't jump twice in the air. When I'm jumping, I would then be forced to land because I am held by the laws of gravity on Earth. So as I jump and I'm on Earth, I then get dragged back down. Perhaps there is other life forms in the universe, far away in a different galaxy, aliens, and then they are not confined to the laws of gravity on Earth because they are on Sarth. So the law of gravity is a law of physics that applies to life on Earth. Elon Musk wants to travel to Mars because Basquiat drew the crown already. So some things are just, some things hold true. You know, like Barack Obama, if he sat in front of 28 kids, 29 kids, the ones that develop perfectly, like properly, would have said, like, what do you want is your occupation? They would have said an astronaut, president of the world, or world chess champion. You know, someone that says something else, a swimsuit instructor has now work to do because some things hold true in the universe.
Much involved in bicycles and airplanes. Well, our story begins really when I was a senior in college. My friend came hurrying to my house. He wanted me to see Steve Martin performing on cable television.
Yeah, this is how music starts. Music starts by you playing at your local band. So I was making music in Toronto, and then the music scene in Toronto is pretty competitive. Like there's Drake, you know, he has created his character to a point where it makes sense. The same way Lil Wayne did. Lil Wayne has albums called Dedication. He dedicated, and then, you know, he starts off with Taking Over on DJ Khaled. He does Drop the World, and then later he does Wheezy F Baby, but the F is not for Stunna. And then years later he says, don't forget to mention me in your top 5, Tupac, Jay-Z, Biggie, Wheezy F Baby. And he's calling you a baby if you don't put him in your top 5. So he's created this like storyline for his character. I created a storyline for my character. Drake, you have a goofy character that has no storyline whatsoever. Jay-Z's character, he's in Los Angeles. Beyonce gets the attention of some famous superstar, and then he's left in the dust. Offset has a character that saved on electricity in the winter. And then who knows what happened to Offset. Every character in rap has its own story, except for Drake's. That's why Drake's character is goofy.
And he goes, look, this guy's just like you. Look at this. You're just like Steve Martin. Look at this. This is what you ought to be doing. And okay, fine. I was focused on being graduated from...
But no, actually, so now there's a story behind Drake's character. Drake's character has beef with the NBA, which is so interesting of a storyline, that he brings LeBron on stage to perform Sicko Mode. And then I thought about it, like, I knew Drake before I knew LeBron. So then I'm like, it's kind of true that like LeBron signs a $50 million deal with the LA Lakers for 1 year. If Drake isn't selling as much anymore, you know, as many tickets, you know, then by all means he should be able to reach out and he should be upset at LeBron James a little bit. Like, hey, you got to spot him $1 million or something. So then let's talk about the Big Bang Theory. The Big Bang Theory is a scientific theory on how the universe started. The universe, so the Big Bang Theory states that because there was nothingness, there's some sort of substrate. Maybe it's what Andrew Tate is trying to say. There's some sort of substrate to the substance. So because there's nothing, it just exploded. And then there was so much light in the darkness. It just exploded. And then there are rocks. Giant rocks are called planets. Giant rocks in space are called planets. They are then drawn to gravity, centers of mass. So the sun is 1,000 times larger than the Earth. It's 1,000 times larger than other planets. So in these planets, as they revolve and rotate, they orbit around the sun. It takes on average the Earth 365 days to get back in the same spot, which makes 1 year. Throughout that 1 year, you would have aged 1 year because it would have passed your birthday. So I am a fortune teller of sorts. In 1 year, you would have aged 1 year. Different planets have different times to rotate around the sun because they have different distances set travel. Pluto is further from the sun, so it'll take like 2,000 days for it to be condensed as 1 year. So then they say if you're an astronaut, you get sent off into space, you are traveling at light years ahead, that when you come back to Earth, you have aged less, like you've aged backwards because you're spending light years compared to like regular Earth years. So then, like, let's say the average dog lives to like 8 years or something like that. But so like, let's say that the average dog has a lifespan of 8 years. If I'm looking at the stars, so the sun is a star, the moon is like a celestial thing. Let's say I'm watching stars. What happens when I look at a star in the distance? Because this star is in the distance, I am looking at light years away, that this star is the same star that dinosaurs saw. Dinosaurs are a different species from man. So let's just think about a T-Rex. A T-Rex, as this carnivore is eating stuff, he sees a star millions of light years away. I'm sitting here, I feel like something good is happening. Maybe some sort of Baal worship. Some new religion is being ushered in or something. I see my patio, I look outside my balcony, and I see a star. This star is millions of light years away, that it is a star that is exploded and is turned to debris. So by looking into a star, we can see, we are looking into millions of years in the past. That's what I like to think about. And it's just true. So I see a star. That same star, a T-Rex looked at.
Engineering school, getting a job, being a productive member of society. But then about a year later, when I was working for Boeing, I entered the Seattle Steve Martin lookalike contest and I won. People wanted me to be Steve Martin at parties. I was approached professionally. After that, naturally, you want to start doing your own material. Because after you get laughs on stage, it's addicting. I started writing for this comedy show called Almost Live in Seattle. And at the same time, I volunteered at the Pacific Science Center in Seattle. So we were in a meeting for this comedy show and we had to fill 6 minutes. The guy who was the host of the comedy show.
So yeah, let's wrap this one up. So Bill Nye the Science Guy is someone that helps with like your childhood spontaneity. Somewhere in his class, your teacher's gonna pull out this trolley and go, Bill Nye the Science Guy. And then that is science. That's the Big Bang Theory.